When we mention communist leaders around the world, we often immediately think of famous names like Lenin and Stalin of the Soviet Union, Mao Zedong of China, or in Vietnam, President Ho Chi Minh. But for the people of North Korea, the most familiar name is certainly Kim Il-sung. Unlike many leaders of his era, he established a hereditary system, father to son, within the heart of a socialist regime. Even so, he shares one clear thing in common with them. He left behind a deeply controversial legacy. To some, Kim Il-sung is the shining sun in the hearts of North Koreans, a great leader who stood against imperialism. To others, he is seen as a ruthless dictator who brought suffering to his people and left the Korean peninsula divided to this day. It can be said that Kim Il-sung's legacy remains a highly debated subject, yet it is also an important part of East Asian geopolitics that cannot be ignored. So who was Kim Il-sung, and how did he become North Korea's first leader? Let's find out in the article below. Early life, Kim Il-sung's birth name was Kim Song-ju, in Vietnamese, Kim Thon Tru. He was born on April 15, 1912. On the same night, the legendary Titanic sank in the North Atlantic. The name Song-ju/Thang Tru, given by his parents, carried the meaning of a pillar, the necessary strength to support a family. His hometown was in Nam Ri, in what was then the village of Kofyong, Taedong County, today part of Mangyongdae, Pyongyang. He was the eldest son in a family of 3 boys. His 2 younger brothers were Chonchu and Jongju, both of whom later played important roles in the anti-Japanese struggle and helped Kim Il-sung consolidate power. Going deeper into the Kim family background, the clan is said to have originated from a family in Jeonju, North Jeolla. During the Japanese invasions of Korea from 1592 to 1598, the Kim lineage migrated north and settled in Pyongyang. They lived and farmed there for hundreds of years, even after Korea fell under Japanese colonial rule. Kim Song-ju's childhood unfolded during a dark period for the Korean nation. His father worked as a caretaker for a wealthy family, but also took part in independent activities against the invading Japanese forces. Kim Song-ju later said that his family was never truly destitute, but never wealthy either, only slightly better off than many impoverished peasants of the time. First steps into revolutionary activity. In 1926, Kim Song-ju's father died, reportedly from gangrene. Kim later recounted that his father left him 2 pistols, along with a noble mission, to liberate the nation and the country. While studying at UN Middle School in Jilin, Kim grew increasingly dissatisfied with backward feudal ideas. This gradually pushed him toward communist thought, which was spreading rapidly around the world at the time. During this period, Kim Song-ju is believed to have founded the Down with Imperialism Union, an organization regarded as a predecessor to the Korean Communist Party, similar in spirit to Vietnam's Revolutionary Youth League. At age 17, Kim became one of the youngest members to join the Korean Communist Youth League. However, this led to his arrest, forcing him to abandon his studies in May 1929. After several months in prison, Kim temporarily paused his activities. This period also became a time for him to study works related to imperialism and colonial issues by Lenin, Guerrilla Years and Rise. In early 1931, he returned as a member of the Chinese Communist Party and joined Korean anti-Japanese guerrilla groups. A year later, he was appointed as an operative of a special unit in eastern Manchuria. In 1933, during a purge event involving Koreans known as Misadan, Kim Song-ju reportedly survived through a mix of luck and strategy and successfully rallied escapees. Some say this event proved his natural leadership ability. From then until the end of World War II, Kim rose quickly, holding many important positions: political commissar of an anti-Japanese guerrilla company, political commissar of a regiment, commander of the 3rd Independent Division, and later the 2nd Division of the Northeast People's Revolutionary Army. He was arrested several times and endured many hardships during this period. His greatest personal loss may have been the death of his younger brother Ju Chun in 1935. That same year, he changed his name to Kim Il-sung, meaning to become the sun, a solemn name that also clearly reflected his ambition. Around this time, he became acquainted with Chinese leaders, including Wei Zhengmin, whose superior was Kang Sheng, a major figure in the Chinese Communist Party. These relationships became important in Kim's career, especially in his ties with China. Wei Zhengmin later also became a guide and mentor figure to him. In 1937, at the age of 24, Kim Il-sung was appointed a division commander in the Second Army Corps. He became known for guerrilla campaigns against Japan, especially after the Battle of Poshanbo in 1937. Although some opinions question the true scale of his military success, it is difficult to deny that he built a strong political foundation within Korean and Chinese communist circles, and was also recognized by the Japanese as one of the most famous and talented Korean military commanders. In 1938, Kim Il-sung was promoted to become a deputy commander under the First Route Army of the Allied Forces. 3 years later, Japan's Kwantung Army launched a major manhunt operation that inflicted severe losses on the anti-Japanese forces. Kim led the remaining troops across the Amnok, Yalu River to escape into the Soviet Union, settling in Khabarovsk. There, he and his comrades underwent training by the Soviet military, later reorganized into the 88th Separate Rifle Brigade under the Soviet Far Eastern Front. Kim was promoted to captain in the Soviet Red Army and served until 1945, return to Korea and establishment of power. In September 1945, Kim Il-sung returned to his homeland with Soviet support, taking advantage of Japan's defeat and drawing on his experience, and with backing from the Soviets, he quickly outmaneuvered political rivals. In 1946, he became the de facto leader of the Korean Communist Party. A year later, he merged the Communist Party of Korea and the New People's Party to form the Workers' Party of Korea. In September 1948, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was established, with Kim Il-sung as Prime Minister and Chairman of the Workers' Party in North Korea. He later continued as General Secretary of the Workers' Party and maintained power until his death in 1994. The Korean War. After World War II, the Korean Peninsula was divided, the South under U.S. influence and the North under Soviet influence. Tensions escalated with repeated border clashes. On June 25, 1950, the Korean People's Army, led by Kim Il-sung, crossed the 38th parallel with the goal of unifying the country. This offensive reportedly had Soviet approval, based on the belief that President Truman's government had reduced defense spending for South Korea. In addition, economic and social hardship in the South led some Southern citizens to support Northern forces, creating early momentum for North Korea, backed by the Soviet Union and later China, which provided logistics and aid. With that advantage, the North initially captured Seoul and most of the South. However, on September 15, 1950, UN forces led by the U.S. carried out the Incheon landing, turning the tide. North Korean forces were overwhelmed and suffered heavy defeats. U.S./UN troops advanced north. On October 19th, Pyongyang fell, forcing Kim Il-sung and the young government to flee into China. The situation changed again on October 25, 1950, when hundreds of thousands of Chinese soldiers crossed the Yalu River and entered the war as North Korea's communist ally. UN forces were pushed back. China and North Korea regained Pyongyang by late December 1950 and even captured Seoul in January 1951. In March 1951, U.S./UN forces counterattacked again and retook Seoul. The war then became a brutal stalemate, with both sides trading territory and control repeatedly. Eventually, fighting shifted into a war of attrition, featuring guerrilla operations and tunnel warfare. Finally, on July 27, 1953, an armistice was signed. The war ended without achieving unification. Pyongyang was heavily devastated, with 98% of the city reportedly destroyed by U.S. air raids. The Korean War is estimated to have killed at least 1.5 to 3 million people, including many victims of looting and war crimes committed by both sides. We also have a detailed video about the course of the war. Links will be in the description for those who want to learn more. Governing North Korea and building the system. After the Korean War, Kim Il-sung claimed victory because the DPRK survived under his rule. He rebuilt North Korea using a Soviet-style model, a 5-year plan, collectivized agriculture, nationalized industry, and an economy centered on heavy industry and military production. In the decade after the war, North Korea's living standards were often viewed as higher than South Korea's, while both sides stayed heavily militarized along the DMZ. North Korea had no foreign troops in 1953, while large U.S. forces remained in the South. Internationally, Kim presented himself as a leader of the socialist movement. During the Sino-Soviet split, he first leaned toward the USSR, then moved closer to China as de-Stalinization clashed with his personality cult politics. Still, he didn't fully adopt Maoism. Instead, he created Juche, arguing North Korea must follow an independent line, politically sovereign, economically self-sufficient, and militarily self-reliant. Juche became the core doctrine guiding both domestic rule and foreign policy, even as some saw it drifting away from orthodox Marxism-Leninism. Purges, control, and songbun. From the 1950s to 60s, Kim consolidated absolute power through purges of rivals and factions, removing many officials from top institutions and eliminating opposition. He also built a rigid social classification system called songbun, dividing people by family background into core, wavering, and hostile groups. Songbun shaped access to education, housing, jobs, rations, and political life, and is widely linked to severe human rights abuses. The era is also associated with political prisons and forced labor camps, Kwanliso, and allegations of detention, executions, and extreme mistreatment, toward confrontation and succession. By the mid-1960s, Kim escalated pressure on South Korea and U.S. forces, including intensified infiltrations and major incidents like the Blue House Raid, January 1968. He predicted reunification under Juche, but it never happened, and no second major war broke out. North Korea expanded infrastructure and industry and claimed broad welfare achievements, though later performance diverged from these ambitions. In the late 1970s, Kim chose his son Kim Jong-il as successor, sidelining other family figures and shifting key responsibilities to him, especially through military and defense structures. By the early 1990s, Kim Jong-il's command authority was firmly established, ensuring a controlled transfer of power. Final years and death. North Korea's situation worsened in the 1980s to 90s as China reformed, South Korea surged economically, and the Soviet Union collapsed, cutting critical support. Isolation, weak management, and disasters contributed to famine, arduous march. Kim made limited moves toward nuclear negotiations amid pressure, but his health deteriorated. He died in 1994, leaving a country in crisis, with Kim Jong-il ready to take over. Drop a like for me! Subscribe to the channel to watch more awesome videos every day. Comment next if you want me to make the next part. Thank you!